Okay, we are
So
streamed. Here's Commissioner Crawford. There he is.
he's here on time, early. So we got Larry, Scott, Rich, John, Jason. Everybody's here. 1 o'clock, we ready?
Ready?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the May 21st Commissioners meeting to order. We'll forego the Pledge of Allegiance due to lack of a common flag here, and go through roll call, which I probably already did. Start with Scott. Am I missing the audio here?
Oh, he's
You there, Scott?
I'm here.
All right.
Larry McPhail.
Rich Schwarzman.
John out there.
I think your mic is muted, Commissioner Crawford.
You there, John? Oh, I can see your lips moving. I see him. Hi. You must have my old computer. Is Herschel muted also?
I'm here.
All right.
Jason Vanderveen.
So John Crawford's here, but we can't hear him.
That could be a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know who your friends are. Do we want to try to troubleshoot this now, or?
It's on his end. I can't.
Right.
I've got him unmuted on my end, so I don't know what more I can do from,
Might be his
from my
computer.
side.
Do you
His
want to
computer
try
microphone, make sure
logging
it's
off
on.
and?
There he goes.
Yep, looks like he's gonna.
Log off and log back on. Can't wait till we can meet in person someday. Richard's back.
I sent Commissioner Crawford. Oh, here we go.
There he is.
My camera's not working, but it's working here.
Oh, can I see?
No.
So he's still talking. He can't hear him.
Still
It's
nothing.
not good.
Oh, there goes connecting to audio.
Yours is?
Jenny, your audio is on.
John can, no,
Still can't
Can't hear
him.
We'll go with sign language. You can give us a thumbs up if you like what we have to say. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, he said yes, he can.
Chief, is there a way for him to call in?
Okay.
Yeah, he could do the telephone thing, couldn't he?
Yeah, there should be a phone number on the invite.
Mm-hmm.
I'll text him here real quick.
Again,
So we'll try to get at least an audio for him.
speaking pause.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
There we
Yep.
go.
there you go.
Try it
I
again.
can hear you.
Thank you. Now it should work.
Looks like he had his own.
Uh-oh. Now, if my grandson was there, he'd probably help you out, but all right, do you want to go ahead and enter your name for roll call? John.
Oh, John Crawford, sorry.
Now it's a hearing problem, okay.
It's gonna be a long meeting.
All right, moving right through the agenda here. Volunteer Pension Board meeting is called to order, and we have the approval of the April 16th minutes. Is there a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second, Larry, second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Chief, you have a pension eligibility individual.
Yes, sir. Mr. James Wilson, who served with Fire District 13 from 1985 to 1996. He's applied for the Volunteer Pension Board.
85 to 96. I thought you had to do like 20 years to be eligible for a pension. Did they change that?
Apparently,
Yeah, just
It
10
could-
years.
Yeah, I can go
10
back.
years is the, yeah, 10 years is when you can actually receive a pension, start to receive a pension.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Dave.
Up to 350.
So we need a motion. More than I get from Social Security. All right, so we need a motion to approve his pension eligibility. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Moved and second, and any further discussion? All in favor?
aye.
It's unanimous. Anything else, Chief, for the Volunteer Pension Board?
oh, sorry, not at this time.
If not, then we'll move to adjourn the Pension Board meeting. And I will close the Pension Board meeting and open the regular Board of Commissioners meeting. First item is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the April 16th meeting minutes, the staff reports, and the financial reports. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Moved.
Larry, I move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, I'm going to read the totals into the minutes here. The total revenue for April was $1,981,616.34. The total expenditures was $691,746.48. Employee direct deposit payroll, $314,495.18. Benefits vouchers, $202,854.60. monthly expenditure vouchers, 99,485 and 28 cents. Second monthly expenditure voucher, 19,953 and 15 cents. Capital projects apparatus voucher, 54,958 and 27 cents. And I believe that's all. All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Did I
Aye.
get everybody? Okay,
I don't think my voice is working, is it?
it is now.
Okay.
I'm assuming there's no dissension, it's unanimous. Next item is commissioner meeting reports. Has anyone got any meetings they've attended?
The all county commissioners meeting was canceled due to COVID. So we didn't want to do a Zoom meeting because a few of the commissioners are unfamiliar with that process. So we're going to forego it until let's see, probably July.
Okay,
And what else do I have? We have a city 911 board meeting via Zoom, and that should be towards the end of May or June. And I don't have the exact date.
is that the dispatch one or is that?
Right.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? So you guys are aware that because of the pandemic, that I'm receiving weekly updates from the chief. And so I've attended several meetings with him and Chief Ralston, who I appreciate that he has come on board with us to assist us with reviewing our budget on the 30th of April. He shared some numbers with me regarding our budget and looking forward to working with District 4, what their budget status is. And then on the 5th, I had an operations update with Chief Vanderveen. And on the 15th, Chief Vanderveen and Chief Ralston, again, operations. And on the 20th, Chief Vanderveen and Rich Bosman to go over the 2019 budget and where that has landed now that all the numbers are in, and he's been able to go back and scrutinize that. And then just recently, I got a request from the state auditor, and I will be having a phone conference with them on the 26th at 11 a.m. I know we're in the middle of a department audit, and they wanted to speak to me regarding that. I don't know, Rich, did you ever participate in that process in the past? Not Richard Davis, Rich Bosman.
They would occasionally ask one or two of us to meet with them just to go over things, but was never anything major.
Right. I didn't get the impression that it was. It's just part of that auditing process where they're just going through and looking at our checks and balances. So it's nothing I'm overly concerned about. I will be able to report back at our next meeting in June.
I think the last time, Larry, you and I met with them, didn't we? Just for a short meeting.
If I might add, I know that what they'll do is when they get ready to close the audit out, they will invite the board to come in for an exit interview if they so choose. Anybody can come for that. But if there's just one individual that wants to come in, that what they get concerned about is obviously the board of three. If three people come in, you have to call a special board meeting for just an audit. And we've had to do that in some years past for just the exit items or any of those items. But for you just to get an individual phone call, Commissioner, that might have something else to do on something else. I don't think that would be the exit interview. Normally, each commissioner gets a notice of when it starts and when it ends for an opportunity to participate.
Yeah, and I know that last audit that happened, I believe they actually came to one of our meetings, whether we called a special meeting for that, and gave us our report. This one, I think it's just some internal checks and balances that they're curious to know maybe how we manage any problems or concerns.
Yep.
And as the chair of the board, I guess I'll help enlighten them on our process to the best of my knowledge.
Yep. Sir, if I
Anyone
could,
else have any?
I actually have a
Yeah.
have a phone conference with them tomorrow morning. They're going to interview me as well. And from what I'm told, it's a pretty standard operating procedure. Talk to the kind of the leaders of the organization and find out what have you done with the information we gave you at the close of the last audit? How did that affect anything you've done going forward? And just to kind of get a sense of checks and balances, like you said, checks and balances within the organization. So I'll be chatting with them at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Thank you. We'll move on then to the local 106 report. I didn't receive anything. Chief, have you gotten any of them?
I don't have anything from them, no.
Okay. Legal issues. Richard Davis, anything?
Not much. There hasn't been a whole lot of updates from the governor's office that really pertains to us. If all goes well, then next month we can meet in person. This current order that requires us to remain in remote areas while we have our public meetings is set to expire at the end of the month. That could be extended, but right now it's just May 31. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Unfinished business. Our first item is the Dakota Creek Bridge. John Crawford, you had maybe some new information for us?
Yeah, I spoke with Luann Van Werven on a separate issue, but the bridge issue got brought into play during our talk. She understands, and she's talked with the state. The state has pushed repairs for that bridge out, unfortunately, until 2030 something. And now with the budget cuts, it's probably even pushed back a lot further. She did state that the school district was crossing the bridge with buses and the kids were in the bus. And she believes that the school district was stopping, making sure the bridge was clear of traffic before crossing over. I stated to her that a fire apparatus weighs quite a bit more than a school bus, but she thought it might be a good idea to call the state to get clarification that if that's possible or not. And I do have the gentleman's name. I sent it to everybody and would like to know what the board would like to do.
Well, here's what I'd like to do since my plate's kind of full and you seem to be a good contact in the know. I'd kind of like to form a subcommittee on this and appoint you as the lead to that, and then do any sort of follow up. I know, sorry, open your mouth, you get a job. But I appreciate that. If you're too busy to do it, we can figure out something else. I know that Captain Davidson has written a sort of a preliminary letter back in the earlier days before COVID hit. We were going to send a letter to the newspaper and Luann and whoever, and he, you know, we kind of drafted that.
Luann thought that was a good idea to go ahead and send that off and maybe get some local voices heard due to the fact that it is affecting response time. She stated that, you know, there are people that might have a little bit of push or play with this bridge project, if that's what it comes to, but she thought that was a good idea as well.
Okay, so.
But yeah, I can certainly reach out to the state, talk to the gentleman that she gave me his information.
It would be interesting if that were an option, and I think you said at one time there are bridges, I know, even during construction, where they put a traffic control device, a signal, and it could be activated by an Opticom or something that would red light the oncoming traffic, and then the engine could proceed maybe at a reduced speed down the middle of the bridge. And if the engineers would certify that, it might be an interim option for us. I don't know, Herschel, do you have any background or history in something like that?
This specific case, we actually addressed the alternate options, and the most recent letter we have from them is that we can't use any of those kind of systems to safely cross the bridge. The most recent document, which again is probably not 6 to 9 months old, addresses specifically whether we can limit number of vehicles on the bridge. And the answer was no, that everything other than aid cars and staff cars are overweight, and that there's no other way to manage that. And perhaps the chief has the specifics of that letter, but we've already pursued that with them. We've had them specifically comment on that, and their letter addresses that specifically and says that we can't use any of those methods.
Well, I guess that reduces one phone call for you, John. I would still like to maybe wordsmith that letter, and Ray didn't have any specifics on responses, Chief, as far as how many times we've been impacted by that, but there's got to be a way to sort of extrapolate, I think.
Yes.
I don't know that we need exact numbers, but I would think that we could say X number of times in the past year it's impacted our response. I know your plate's full. I don't consider this to be a super priority for us right now from an administrative standpoint, but maybe John, if behind the scenes you can work on some of that and compile a little of that information, and then we could put that letter together. I think if the public was aware of what was going on, I think there may be some influential people in those response areas that could get on board and assist us. I know we've got a pretty good following in the Birch Bay community. I would hope that maybe we could tap into people in Simiamu and Blaine and see if we can't get a few people on board for that. So I guess I am asking the rest of the board if that sounds like a good plan, let John kind of move forward with this and report back. Like I said, that it's not a mission critical thing at this point with the pandemic going on, but it would be nice to maybe have everything lined up and ready to go when the opportunity presents itself.
This is Larry. I'm okay with that.
I think it's a good idea.
Agreed.
All right, John, welcome to the Dakota Creek Bridge Committee.
Thank you.
Hey, Chief Rostoff, maybe you can, if you or have that letter with the information or the discussion or the email or the communications, you could forward that to Commissioner Crawford so that he doesn't have to repeat the same work over.
We'll get a copy of that and forward it to both of you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Unfinished business, anything else on that Dakota Creek Bridge? Unfinished business number 2, First Amendment to the ILA for Fire and Protection Services. We talked about this, I believe, at our last meeting, requested amending some of the language of the ILA, and I tabled it because I didn't want to piecemeal this thing. I think if there are expressed concerns for the ILA, we ought to deal with it as one package deal, and not just let's amend this and then next month we amend this and the following month we have to amend something else. So I would like to have a brief discussion about perhaps sending a letter to the board of District 4 asking them to supply us with a written request and concerns that they specifically have with the current interlocal agreement. We can review those and then decide what our next mode of action should be. Anyone else have any input on that?
So you're looking for a special, you're looking for a response from them on letterhead with their concerns, correct? Not a Word document with one party expressing concerns.
I would like a ruling from the board, which would mean they would have to have a regular meeting or special meeting and discuss this and come up with a letter and direction as to their specific concerns about the current ILA. That way we could look at them and choose how we want to respond. It's just hard for me to every week get a new concern or be told that there are multiple concerns, but then don't know what they are. So
I'm totally on board with that, Bruce. In fact, if we can all get in the same room at some point next month, face to face, I think that'd even be better. But if we want to drop a letter, that's fine too.
I think it's always a good idea to have something actually written down and recorded. You know, this is exactly what their concerns are. And then we can respond to it in a formal letter too. So it's not like, I think they mean this, or I think they said that. It's just a good idea to have it written down. And I also think it's a good idea to make sure the whole board is part of that.
right. So my thought was is I would work with Jenny and have Richard Davis review a letter approved by our board. I can sign it. If you guys want to pre-approve me to do that, then I would move forward and draft that. I could send the draft out for review. I'm assuming, Mr. Davis, that's okay if we were to draft a letter and send it out to the board just to get their eyes on it, or just give me quote blanket approval now, knowing what the intent is.
I think you could do either. If the board wanted to see it first, you could circulate it, but I think the board could just give you direction, go ahead and issue that letter. It's all you're doing, as I understand it, is just seeking some clarification on what the issues are. So it's probably appropriate just to authorize the chair to go ahead and send that.
Larry or Scott, any input?
No, Larry, it sounds good to me.
It sounds good to me. Haven't we asked for that clarification in letters before?
I don't know that we have, as a board, sent a formal request for the specific details. I think there has been some discussion and some comments, and it has led to sort of this piecemeal response. And I'd just sort of like to formalize it.
I agree.
All right, so I am hearing that everyone's okay with sending a letter to the Board of District 4 requesting specific concerns about their ILA so that we can move forward and address them in an appropriate manner. Next item would be, I believe at our December meeting, we got a petition to merge from District 4, and we did not respond back to that because we had a question about the EMS levy rate and how that would come across. Did we ever get any clarification on that, Richard?
So we contacted the local assessor to find out if they would kind of investigate independently with the Department of Revenue, see if they wound up with the same answer. And they simply said, look, if you've already contacted Diane Locke and gotten an answer from Diane, we're not going to find anything else different. And we certainly don't have any authority to say something contrary to Diane and the Department of Revenue. So the last communication was from Diane, which says that the EMS levy would transfer over and be leviable by District 21 after the merger. Again, I found that to be pretty surprising. That was not the answer. But you know what? Remember, I asked for the opinion, and then I wrote back and said, my understanding, just confirming, and got a response that, yeah, that's correct. So.
All right. Well, since then, I think there's been some discussion about whether a merger is the proper way to go versus potentially an RFA. So I think we probably need to figure out what the issues are with the ILA first. And if those aren't resolvable, then it's probably not even worthwhile moving forward at all, in my opinion. I know, Chief Ralston, you've had experience with forming, sorry, I'm losing my mind here. A district like that and an RFA, sorry.
Yep.
And it seemed like it might be a better way to go since we've got this EMS levy thing hanging out here that we're really unsure about. And I mean, I'm no expert, but I just find it really difficult to say that if I didn't vote for an EMS levy, I'm going to get assessed for it now. I just, because we merged, I don't see that, how that can happen. I would certainly potentially challenge it as a voter. But we're going to continue to struggle with financing, and probably more so now with the sort of the reconfiguration of local business and the economy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in an RFA, don't we have a little more flexibility in helping determine our funding mechanism, Chief Ralston?
You do have a planning process to determine that. There's a couple of things you can do, whether it's a general fire levy tax, There is another form called the benefit tax. The benefit tax actually is a 60% supermajority approval too, like an EMS levy. But you do have the ability, informing the RFA, to come up with a funding model and plan. And if it's just general fire tax that you're using, then it's a simple majority to approve it. If it does have an EMS levy attached to it, again, we'd have to get some legal determination on this. It might require a 60% approval, because anything with an EMS levy requires 60%. So those are some questions, good questions that, you know, we'd have to find out more about in that process, whether you look at an RFA. But the RFA, which is good about it, is you really sit down and devise a plan to meet the needs and services of the community, and you can put all the issues out in play and devise it. And all of those components get looked at, whether it's the commissioners, whether it's funding, operations, all of it is addressed in the plan. And so it does give an opportunity to essentially start out somewhat fresh, even though you can still put two entities together and form a new service agreement. But for what we did at the RFA, we only needed, well, we only needed a 50% approval, and we received closer to 67%, I believe, and when you looked at the combined for all of that. So it really just depends on the makeup of it. So if we go down that route, that would be part of the planning committee process that both districts would participate in. Maybe not necessarily each working in it. You could have a subcommittee, but that would be one of the areas we would work on to look at the funding model.
One of the things I might add with the RFA, you get to choose how the board is comprised, the initial board. Whereas with a merger, everybody comes over. So if District 4 merges into 21, you start out with an 8-member board, and through attrition then and through the statutory process, you whittle the board down to whatever number is ultimately agreed upon. So if it's a 5-member board, that's all done by statute. Whereas with an RFA plan, you get a lot more flexibility. You can create commissioner districts right off the bat, or you could have a combination of at-large and districted positions. But the one thing with an RFA is you're going to have the RFA structure, and you're going to have 2 fire districts. Right, so you're going to have 3 governments at least to start out with, and you can then go back to the voters, each district can, to dissolve those fire districts, because quite honestly, they're going to be superfluous. The RFA is going to be doing everything. So it's kind of a 2-step process. Otherwise, you folks are going to have to continue to meet at least once monthly and not have a lot to do. And then you're going to also be meeting on the RFA board for a period of time until you go back and get that district dissolved. I'll just follow up on what Dave said about the funding. The funding sources are the same, and in the fire benefit charge, there's a lot of agencies that are going after that now, because just this last legislative session, the legislature allowed you to go out for a permanent fire benefit charge. Previously, it was limited to 6 years. And so even though it's a super majority to start with, 60% requirement, then it's there forever. And that, you lose your 50% levy. So your fire levy is then limited to $1 per 1,000, but your fire benefit charge can go up to 60% of your operating budget. So, you know, you should be able to obtain more funding. And every year what you do is based on your budget, you determine what the size of that benefit charge is going to be throughout the district. And then you apportion it to each property based on a formula. And there's a lot of examples out there from other agencies that apportion that on a per property basis. Property owners can challenge that, but my experience is with the other agencies that we represent, those challenges are usually fairly minimal. But yeah.
Oh. So as far as action or what we want to do with this, I'm inclined to wait until we get a response from our last discussion before we decide which direction we might end up going on this topic. Any comments? Hearing and seeing none, I'll take that as we'll wait. Any other unfinished business? I see none on the agenda. We'll move to new business. Resolution 2020-11 is the cancellation of a warrant. And Chief, I understand that that was because of the vendor themselves or something happened?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to think back now what exactly happened with that. It was the problem was with the vendor. And I shoot, I'm sorry, I lost. Before we started.
Yeah, I know. You've got a lot of things on your mind. I believe what happened is we either got the wrong vendor name or something. It wasn't an error on our end. It was
Correct.
an error on the vendor. And after we cut the check, we realized that they sent us the wrong account or something. So I need a motion to approve resolution 2020-11 to cancel that warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Item 2, attorney-client representation. There've been some rumors floating around and discussions and emails and all kinds of various things, and I just wanted to clarify. It's my understanding that Richard Davis is our district's attorney and is willing to continue in that capacity. There are some issues with the ILA, whether he can represent us or District 4 or neither in that capacity. So Mr. Davis, would you enlighten us on your position regarding District 4, the ILA, and District 21?
Sure. Well, a lawyer never likes to withdraw from a representation, but I know that there are a number of issues involving the interlocal agreement between District 4 and District 21. And I'm not sure what the extent of those are. And some lawyers, are more aggressive when it comes to potential conflicts of interest. And I tend to fall on more of the conservative side. Our profession is governed by ethical rules. They're called the rules of professional conduct that say what you have to do when you face a potential conflict. You're representing two clients whose interests might diverge. And I felt that it would be better if, rather than try and walk a fine line with that conflict, that we would withdraw from District 4 for the time being while these issues are resolved between the two agencies. Because we have been involved with District 4 with regards to the ILA as well as District 21, we're unable to provide advice to District 21, even though District 4 is now a former client of ours. There's again the ethical rules that govern that, but we remain, as long as the commission wants to have us, we very much want to continue our representation of District 21. And all I can say to you is, as issues come up, if I feel that the ethical rules preclude us from giving advice to the district because of our past representation of District 4, I will let you know that, and that I won't be able to give you advice, but that you could hire outside counsel for that. So does that answer your?
It does. It does. I just, like I said, there'd been some rumors floating around, and I just wanted to give our board clarification. In the over 4 years I've been here, I've appreciated your attendance at our meetings and your legal counsel, and would like to continue that relationship. So I just wanted the rest of the board to hear and understand who represents us and why, and the other little details with the ILA and where we might have to go if and when we hear back from them on their concerns. Anyone else? Any comments? Rich, you're muted.
I'm just thankful that Richard Davis is going to stay with us. I've always appreciated his advice and work.
Thank you.
All right. Next item under new business is Northwood Station 72 technology upgrade. Chief, do you want to give us an update on that?
Yeah. So I kind of queried the board previously about looking at Station 70, building out Station 72 to be able to house the IT infrastructure, to have full-time staff there, or administrators, or what have you. So I went ahead and got a bid from Tech Help, and it's $10,340 was to go ahead and wire the station and put in the necessary hardware to be able to support workstations in that building. Some of the reasons for wanting to do this, provides us an alternative headquarters. It's a building we own and we've not identified that we want to get rid of anytime soon. The city of Linden has a big remodel on their station potentially coming up with COVID. It's hard to know exactly when they're going to pull the trigger on that. But, they have approached us about housing their crews there for a number of months, probably 6 months to be at a minimum. And they would require the ability to have workstations inside that building. And so what I'm asking for is formal approval from the board to use money from from facilities reserves or capital facilities to go ahead and complete this build out of the technology upgrade at Station 72, which, just for everybody, is there at the corner of Northwood and Badger.
That sort of falls in line with, I don't know, Rich Bosman, you had a communication from the little store out there, and they were wondering if maybe you can tell us what happened there.
Well, they approached me wanting to know if the board would be willing to let them use some more parking there and use some of the grass area and potentially expand that area, as long as they kept everything open for us in the front. And I said, well, I would bring it to the board. My feeling right away at the beginning was, I don't think we want to do that. And then when this came up, it was very easy for me to call back and say, no, we're not interested, because we're going to actually look at putting that station into full use.
As some of you, most of you, maybe Scott, aren't in the loop, we kind of sold off a little piece of property for them, and then we gave them a little more parking, and granted, they're a store trying to expand their business and do more and more, and they kept coming back and asking us for a little bit more, and I kind of felt like an amputee there for a while, that which limb was going to be coming off next, and I think it's perhaps time that we plan to utilize that station a little bit more in the future, and based on the ESCI report, that's not a station that was identified that we ought to be thinking about getting rid of. So it seems prudent to me to go ahead and do those upgrades. Yeah, I mean, one, we don't know where all this is going as far as the COVID issue. If we ever had a time when one of our stations was knocked out for either a natural disaster or, there's all kinds of potential bad things that happen in the world. We don't really have a backup place to go to. And I think it would be prudent for us to prepare ahead of time and have that ability, rather than trying to play catch up. I mean, it's going to take several weeks to get this thing up and running, is my assumption. And in the middle of a disaster, it would be nice to just say, okay, great, we've got this facility, let's go. So I'm in favor of it. Does this require a motion, Mr. Davis? Is a spending of funds over $10,000 out of one of our reserve funds? Does that require a board motion or just approval of the board?
I think a motion would be appropriate under the circumstances.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to authorize probably, I don't know if that's a hard, fast figure, Chief, or
I would, having just redone my deck at home, I'd ask us to add 20% because that's so probably less than $15,000.
all right. So the technology upgrade to Station 72 not to exceed $15,000. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Chief, thank you for your forward thinking.
Thank you.
No other new business. We'll move to policies and procedures. We have a public records policy and procedure update, which the only change to that I was able to see was the strikeout of the former public records officer, Chris Parks, and then replaced with Jenny Sand. Is that correct, Chief? We just changed the name on this policy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so it's a housekeeping item. I'll need a motion to approve that district policy and procedure. My favorite part, the number is 0100.1101.00. Is there a motion to update and approve that policy and procedure?
Move to approve.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Correspondence was in our packet. Chief, the Toad Lake, was that just recently here this last?
That was last month, early last month.
Okay. Okay. That was kind of a sad thing. But anyway, another thank you for services and some other updates on a fire. Herschel, were you involved in that? Was it a mobile home fire or refresh my memory here?
Oh, you muted Chief Rostov.
Not sure which fire specifically that was.
3 people and 1 cat. Oh, this was a Bellingham apartment fire.
That's correct. I was not at that one.
Was that just a mutual aid thing on our part,
Yes,
Chief?
it was auto aid.
Auto aid.
It was
Okay.
an auto aid response.
Got it.
What we burned down on the Delta Line Road about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
That was correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Rostov, that was someone burning yard waste and it was a little windy and got into his barn.
Oops.
Yeah, we had 2 fires in 2 days or in the same day right around that time period. And that one was yard waste that expanded into a bunch of vehicles that he had stored on a site and stopped it before it got into barns and outbuildings.
All right. Yeah, I was driving through the village one day and I saw a guy out there with a weed burner and I'm like, next to his boat, next to his hedge, it's like, maybe I should just stay here and wait so I can call. Anyway. Okay, we'll move on to announcements. Board meeting attendance next month. I'm assuming, I don't know, it's probably going to be Zoom again. Anybody got any insight? Nothing. I guess when we move into phase 2, what phase are we in now?
2.
And this expires at the end of the month. See if it's extended. We don't know yet.
Okay, so I know the border's still closed to what, the 21st at least, so is everyone available on the 18th regardless of whether we Zoom it or attend in person?
Larry's yes, available.
How about the rest of you folks?
I'll say yes as of now. I'll let you know if it differs.
I'm good.
What day were you saying?
The June 18th. It's a Thursday.
Okay, I'm available.
All right. So we're good for now. Things are in motion, changing. We'll wait for the next update. John, you had a request, Roger Christensen. We send some flowers and card to the family. Can you tell me about him, who he was? And
Yeah, Roger Christensen was a former Bellingham paramedic, and he served as the Bellingham fire chief for a time when they were in between chiefs. Anyway, it was probably one of Whatcom County's finest paramedics around. Just all around a great guy. He was a volunteer at Kendall as well as his wife. They've been long-term members out there. And apparently he had an accident at home and passed away. And I'm not sure if the district has a floral person already on account or not. If not, I would be more than happy to go set that up. And I'd like to send something to Roger and his family, a card and some flowers.
okay, and maybe coordinate that with the chief or Jenny or however we want to do that.
I can give Jenny a call tomorrow. That's fine. Maybe we can set something up.
Okay.
Thank you for making us aware of that. All right, agenda items for next meeting. We've got the paramedic training interlocal agreement that is still floating around out there. The fire marshal services, Chief Rostoff, is that still in limbo?
We haven't had any meetings about it because of the COVID stuff, so no progress so far.
All right, we've got Dakota Creek Bridge, which John Crawford has so kindly volunteered to head up.
Thanks.
We have a missing commissioner laptop, which
Enough said.
I don't know what to say. Probably will remain missing. And then Chief, you potentially would have a 2019 budget amendment for us based on some information we saw yesterday.
Yes, sir. It was yesterday. Yep. Chief Ralston and I talked this morning about it, and yeah, we'll create something digestible, and that will be on the June agenda.
Very good. There's no bad news, I understand. It's just a matter of getting the numbers in the right columns and corrected.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. Our next item is an executive session per RCW 42.30.110 subsection 1I, and this require the attendance of everyone here with the exception of Jenny to discuss with legal counsel matters relating to litigation or potential litigation in the district. So I expect this is going to take at least an hour. So I would like to adjourn to that executive session. So we'll need to cut off Jenny, turn off the